Medicine, astronomy, mysterious voids, all of it suggests that the ancient Egyptians had a far more advanced understanding of the world than they are often credited for. The deeper we look, the more their lost knowledge feels less like myth and more like mastery. Medicine, astronomy, mysterious voids, all of it suggests that the ancient Egyptians had a far more advanced understanding of the world than they're often credited for. The deeper we look, the more their lost knowledge feels less like myth and more like mastery. Equally impressive is their astronomical knowledge. Temples and pyramids were often aligned with celestial bodies. The Great Pyramid, for example, is not only perfectly aligned to true north, but some of its internal shafts point towards stars, like Orion's Belt and Sirius, both important in Egyptian mythology and afterlife beliefs. This indicates they had a deep understanding of the sky, which they used for both spiritual and practical purposes, including agricultural calendars. And then there are the hidden chambers. In 2017, a team of researchers using muon tomography, a type of cosmic ray scanning, discovered a large, empty void inside the Great Pyramid. It's still unexplored. No one knows what it contains, why it exists, or how it was built without access from the outside. Could it be a sealed room full of ancient knowledge, or just a structural space? While much of the focus on ancient Egypt revolves around pyramids and pharaohs, there's another side to their civilization that reveals a different kind of genius, one rooted in medicine, astronomy, and mysterious architectural knowledge. Ancient Egyptian medical texts like the Ebers Papyrus and the Edwin Smith Papyrus show surprisingly advanced understanding of human anatomy and treatment. These documents describe surgical techniques, wound care, bone setting, and even brain injuries, suggesting that Egyptian physicians weren't just spiritual healers, but trained professionals with a rational approach to medicine. Some of their tools, including surgical knives and forceps, closely resemble modern designs. Lamps in many of these sealed chambers. However, Egyptologists firmly reject these theories. They argue that the Dendera image is purely symbolic, representing elements of Egyptian mythology, specifically the birth of the universe, with the serpent symbolizing divine energy. The bulb is likely just a stylized representation of the lotus, a sacred symbol in Egyptian cosmology. Still, the debate rages on. The carving continues to inspire curiosity, theories, and heated discussions. Whether it depicts forgotten science or religious symbolism, the Dendera Light remains one of Egypt's most fascinating mysteries. A perfect example of how one image can ignite endless speculation about the ancient world. Tucked away in the Temple of Hathor at Dendera is one of the most controversial and talked about carvings in ancient Egyptian history. On a stone relief deep inside the temple is an image that some believe could rewrite everything we know about ancient technology, the so-called Dendera Light. To the mainstream eye, the carving shows a lotus flower emitting a serpent, resting on a pillar, surrounded by priests. But to others, especially alternative theorists, it looks strikingly similar to a modern light bulb, complete with a glass enclosure, filament-like serpent, and one appears to be a power cable connected to a box-like device. Could this be evidence that the ancient Egyptians possessed a form of electricity? Some claim the image shows not just light bulbs, but electrical generators or vacuum tubes. Others go even further, suggesting hidden power sources were once used to light the dark interiors of tombs and temples. pointing out that there's no evidence of soot from oil. Of course, mainstream archaeologists maintain that these surfaces were achieved by long hours of manual labor, careful abrasion, and generations of perfected craftsmanship. That may be true, but skeptics argue that there are too many examples, too consistent, too clean to be written off as slow trial and error with primitive tools. Even more intriguing are the large unfinished obelisks still lying in ancient quarries, abandoned mid-carve due to cracks. These offer a glimpse into the ancient construction process, and they show some surprisingly smooth trenches and tool marks. Again, some experts believe they indicate the use of lost methods or tools that we've simply never recovered. Was it all just copper, stone, and sand? Or did the ancient Egyptians possess a type of mechanical advantage, a forgotten technique that helped them manipulate stone on a level that still stuns us today? The tools may be long gone, but the marks they left behind still speak, and they tell a story. Take, for example, the mysterious tube drill holes found in several ancient granite and basalt artifacts. These cylindrical holes are perfectly round and appear to have been made by some kind of high-speed rotary tool. Some of these holes show spiral groove marks, the kind of marks we see today when using mechanical drills with consistent pressure and speed. And yet, this kind of technology isn't supposed to have existed until the modern industrial age. One of the most debated artifacts in this area is the sarcophagus inside the king's chamber. It's made from a single piece of Aswan granite and features flat surfaces with nearly perfect 90-degree angles and mirror-like smoothness. Engineers and machinists who've examined it say the finish is so precise it would require modern tools like diamond saws or CNC machines to replicate. If the Great Pyramid's scale and precision are impressive, the materials used are even more mind-boggling. Among the millions of limestone blocks, some of the most important structural elements, like the king's chamber and internal passageways, were crafted from solid granite, transported hundreds of kilometers from the quarries of Aswan. Granite is one of the hardest natural stones known to man, and yet the ancient Egyptians somehow shaped it with incredible smoothness, symmetry, and accuracy without access to steel or modern cutting tools. So how did they do it? The official explanation is that ancient workers used copper chisels, dolerite pounding stones, and sand-based abrasion to shape and polish the granite. In theory, this method works, but there's a problem. Copper is far softer than granite. Even if the Egyptians hammered away for weeks, the rate of cutting would be painstakingly slow, and the level of precision found in many artifacts suggests a more advanced method. Projects with incredible skill. It's more likely that the Egyptians didn't need help from the stars. They were already stars in the world of ancient engineering. In the end, the Great Pyramid of Giza remains a testament to human ambition, intelligence, and mystery. Whether built through lost techniques or sheer brilliance, it continues to challenge everything we think we know about the ancient world. Its stones may be silent, but they still speak volumes, whispering secrets from a time long past, waiting for us to truly listen. And this is just the beginning. In the next chapter, we'll dive into the strange and sophisticated tools the Egyptians may have used, and how some stone-cutting marks suggest a deeper technological mystery hidden beneath the sands. Another big question: how long did it actually take to build the Great Pyramid? According to ancient Greek historian Herodotus, it was completed in just 20 years. That sounds impressive, until you do the math. To place 2.3 million blocks in 20 years, workers would have had to lay a block every 2 to 3 minutes, non-stop, 24/7, for 2 decades. Even with 20,000 or more workers, It seems incredibly ambitious. While many Egyptologists argue it was possible with highly organized labor, skeptics believe that either the timeline is inaccurate or we're seriously underestimating ancient knowledge. However, this theory remains controversial and is not widely accepted among Egyptologists. Yet it continues to intrigue those who look for alternative explanations beyond the traditional narrative. Adding to the mystery are the pyramids' possible cosmic connections. Some scholars have pointed out that the internal shafts of the pyramid align with important stars, such as Orion's Belt and Sirius. When you place the three pyramids of Giza side by side and compare them to the stars in Orion's Belt, the resemblance is uncanny. It suggests that the layout of the pyramids may not have been random, but part of a larger cosmological design. The ancient Egyptians believed that the pharaoh's soul would ascend to the stars. Perhaps the pyramid itself was a spiritual launchpad, not just a tomb. Lifted and placed with such accuracy inside a narrow, sloped structure? Even modern engineers admit that replicating this feat today without cranes and precision tools would be incredibly difficult. The pyramid isn't just large, it's also extraordinarily accurate. The base is level to within just a few centimeters across 230 meters. The corners are aligned almost perfectly with the four cardinal directions within a margin of error of just 3/60ths of a degree. That kind of precision requires not only a deep understanding of geometry and astronomy, but also incredible surveying skills. Were the Egyptians simply that brilliant? Or did they use techniques that we've long forgotten? Some experts argue that the granite blocks might not have been carved from stone at all, but rather cast in place using an ancient type of concrete, a geopolymer. If true, that would mean the Egyptians may have had knowledge of a lost building technique centuries ahead of its time. And yet the ancient Egyptians did it with basic tools made of copper and stone. So how exactly did they move these massive stones from quarries to the construction site? The prevailing theory suggests they used wooden sleds and poured water over the sand to reduce friction. Others propose that large ramps were built, either straight, zigzagging, or spiraling around the pyramid. But here's the catch. No conclusive physical evidence of such massive ramp systems has ever been found. If a ramp long enough to build the pyramid existed, it would have to be over a kilometer in length. It would have left significant traces behind. Yet archaeologists haven't uncovered anything of that magnitude. Inside the Great Pyramid lies another marvel, the King's Chamber. It's made from red granite, transported from Aswan, over 800 kilometers to the south. Some of the granite blocks used in the chamber weigh over 60 tons. That's heavier than a modern military tank. So how were these transported? Over 4,500 years ago, in the heart of Egypt's desert, a structure was built that continues to baffle scientists, engineers, and historians alike. The Great Pyramid of Giza. Towering above the sands, this monument is more than just a tomb for a pharaoh. It's a riddle carved in stone. Without the help of modern machinery, lasers, or even iron tools, how did ancient Egyptians manage to construct such a massive and precise structure? Was it just sheer manpower, advanced engineering, or have we lost some crucial knowledge along the way? The Great Pyramid was originally over 146 meters tall and built with around 2.3 million limestone and granite blocks. Some of these blocks weighed as much as 80 tons. Even more impressive, The pyramid is aligned with true north to an astonishing degree of accuracy, so precise that even with today's GPS systems and advanced instruments, replicating such alignment would be a major challenge.